Senator Mike Rounds, we're thrilled to have you here. I know you just ran in front of the camera. Give us a sense right now, as we talk to you, considering you're both very much in the Senate discussion right now and a member of the Senate Banking Committee. Tell us what you feel is the key issue right now and how many more hours are left on the shot clock.
Well, right now, we believe we've got the votes, but we've also got some technical amendments that have to be crafted yet. We've got a couple of major proposals that we're going to have to deal with, but the individuals who are proposing the major alternatives are also pretty much in line with everybody, saying we want to make it better. We want this thing to move through. We think we can improve it. If we've got the votes, we're going to go. If we don't have the votes, there isn't anybody saying that they're not going to vote for the bill at this stage of the game. So I think right now this process is working the way that it is supposed to work. There's legislators with different ideas, members of this Senate that have been talking with a lot of their colleagues about how they feel they can make it better. We just came out of about an hour-and-a-half meeting in which different individuals had a chance to express their ideas about amendments they'd like to have included in either the manager's package or separately on the floor. A lot of debate, some of it kind of heated, but that's healthy because they believe in what they're doing.
Hold on a second.
When you say heated, I think we're going to get there.
Senator, when you say heated, was this heated among GOP senators or were Democrats? Okay, who?
Yeah, no, look, this is a case of where people that believe strongly in what they're looking at, they want to make the bill better. There isn't anybody saying, if I can't have my way, I'm not voting for the bill. They're saying, please, listen to my argument. Let me share with you why I think we make it better in this particular case. And that's a healthy part of the debate to have. And, you know, and that's to be expected. I think that's what the people in this country have wanted Congress to be doing for a long time, is having those discussions.
We all remember that McCain had voted against the repeal of Obamacare, giving that famed thumbs down vote in the 11th hour. So, you know, no doubt his announcement today is quite meaningful to your side of it. Since the shot clock began after, 6 p.m. yesterday, how much time do you think it will take to get it to pass and get it to a vote?
We don't know, and let me explain why. It takes time to craft each one of the technical amendments that they're proposing, and it takes time to craft and get a score on each one of the alternative amendments with a different idea. And so while they're working on it, those that have been agreed to be considered have to have a score. They've got to be approved by a parliamentarian in terms of what we call being bird bath. If there's a single modification made by the parliamentarian or a recommendation, it gets to go back in and get scored again. And so right now it's a waiting game for us. As I say, we just came out of a meeting in which we had great discussion on the different concepts. They're working on getting the technical amendments completed. When those are done and we start rolling,
then it can happen
very quickly.
Then it goes into the mixing bowl with what the House does. Let me pinpoint you on the corporate tax rate. Now, as we look at the chatter that's out there, some people are saying maybe it goes up to 22%. Don't you agree, Senator? We have to raise some kind of revenue. Yours had been at 20%, but delayed for a year. The House says 20% right off the bat. But UBS's equity strategist, Keith Parker, is saying that even if the corporate cut was just to 25%, which nobody's really talking about, they all wanted at 20%, that would boost S&P earnings by 6.5%. What point are you guys going to say, well, maybe that's a possibility because we need that revenue to pay for this?
There's two parts. First of all, if you keep the rate down close to 20%, it means you don't have to come back in the next couple of years and modify it again to stay competitive with the rest of the world. That's what this is about. We're competing with other countries that are already reducing their tax rates right away.
But would you consider 25%? Would you consider 22%?
Look, I think most of us would like to stay at 20, but if it takes a 21 or a 22 in order to get 50 or 51 or even the full deck to come around, then we're going to do it. But I think the reality is, because the bottom line is whatever it looks like in the end, we're going to move this bill forward. I think most of us would like to stay at 20%, but there's a couple of folks that have got some good ideas about places they would use the additional revenue that would be generated by going from 20 to 22. They're going to get a chance to make their case in front of the entire Senate to share their idea, and then we're going to let the individual senators make their choice.
How will you guys really go for dealing with, I guess, the House? Because we spoke to Kevin Brady, the Ways and Means Committee chairman, yesterday. I asked him about your plan versus theirs and whether they would consider rubber stamping yours. I want you to listen and then comment. Have you and other fellow GOP House or Senate members considered or even discussed the idea that perhaps in the best interest of speed in getting this done, Republican House members would have to be forced to pass the Senate bill as is?
Yes, so no, we will not do that. We are going to act immediately to move to a conference committee so we can continue to improve the tax reform bill. It will be picking the best of both approaches.
What do you think, Senator?
I absolutely agree with him 100%. I think Kevin is right on target with it. The intent here is to get it into the conference committee and take the best of both worlds. And we think we've got some really good ideas on ours. Remember, we had $300 billion more to work with because we were able to repeal the individual mandate. The House couldn't do that because they'd seen no evidence that the Senate would actually follow through with that. So the fact that we had $300 billion more to work with gave us more tools than the House had. Their bill coming across gave us some ideas. We saw some things in their bill that we probably didn't appreciate, but nonetheless, it gave us an indication about where they were. So this is the right thing to do. It should go to a conference committee. It gives us one more opportunity to make improvements in both of these two bills. And I think most of us have said, you know, when it comes to like the SALT, the state and local taxes, we'd rather take the Senate approach than the House approach. That's better for, we think, a number of their members as well.
Well, you just
some of
get
that
rid
I think
of it.
they'll accept.
Senator, you just get rid of it. And I know both Republicans and Democrats in the state of New York who are very unhappy about that.
Yeah, and so the Senate bill does a little bit better job than the House does with regard to state and local taxes because we include a $10,000 deductibility portion, which will help the vast majority of those individuals who we focused on the individual side. And in the meantime, under the current provisions, all of your corporate types, they get full deductibility of both income tax and the state and local taxes.
But that's our point, and we do have to run. But people are saying, well, why do you give the corporations, the so-called wealthy people, an automatic, ability to keep that, and then not the homeowners on Long Island or in who knows?
It's been an item of debate, and actually what we've said is that that's a usual business expense, and if it's a usual business expense, we should treat it that way.
Senator Mike Rounds, I know you're busy. Give us a flag or some type of hand signal when you're about to start the vote. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.